Hey, creative souls. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm happy that you're here. My name is Johnny. I am a published fiction writer and a retired adjunct writing professor. For 2 decades, I helped reluctant college students get their words on the page. Now I help people write books, and I teach fiction writing and screenwriting to adults in custody. I call myself a word witch, and if you want to know more about what I mean by that, check out my video called On Being a Word Witch. I believe I'm on this earth to heal the world through stories, whether it's the ones I write and tell or the ones I help you write and tell. I'm new here on YouTube, and I embrace the notion of the positive ebb and flow of energetic reciprocity. So, if anything I say resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe, because if you help me grow my channel, then I am able to do more in my quest to heal the world through story, and I would be forever grateful. And of course, then I will continue to provide what I hope is helpful content for you in your writing life and your writing practice. Because as I always say, stories can heal the world. Let's do it together. So what I wanted to talk about today, I mentioned in a past video that I just posted about my 8 favorite writing books. I made this reference to Sourdough starter, and so I wanted to expand on that a little bit. It's a metaphor I use all the time when I teach, and it's to stress to people the importance of sharing their stories and honoring their impulse to create. So as I always say, I view the impulse to create as our life force. And so I think if you have an inkling to write something, if you have a story brewing, a novel that you want to write, I think it behooves you to listen and listen well, because I feel like I absolutely believe this deep down inside my soul, that this is your life force wanting to express itself. It wants to move up out of you and be out in the world where it can make a difference. And I think that's what we humans crave, to be honest, is to share not just our thoughts and ideas, but our essence. That's to me what writing is. It is sharing our essence. And I think that's what that urge to create or to write is. And so what happens when we squelch it? Lots of bad things, I believe, and I think we can see this. It makes us sick. It makes us sick in every way. It can affect us physically. It can affect us emotionally. It can affect us mentally. And it can affect us spiritually. So I think it's really important, if not even just for our own physical health, for what we can do to change the world. So I think it's absolutely essential that we honor that impulse, and that we write, and that we get our work out into the world. And as I've said before, I'm a person, I have no problem writing. I don't get writer's block. I am not a person who makes the time to send my work out a lot. And so I've been published, not as much as other people. And I think it's simply because I haven't sent a lot of my work out. So that is something I'm working on. So I'm not here to like preach. I will do a lot of preaching, but I also know that I have a lot of things myself to work on. So what does this then, the title of this video, how sourdough starter is like, or what is I forget what I've called it. You'll see when it's down there. But I use this metaphor of sourdough starter because here's the thing. First of all, if you don't know what sourdough starter is, it's a thing that people keep in a container, a jar of some kind on their kitchen counter. It's a starter that is used to make sourdough bread. And so it consists of flour, yeast, and water. Because there's yeast in it, it's a living thing. It grows, right? To me, I equate this with this feeling, this urge within us that wants to live and grow and move outside us. Because what happens to sourdough starter? What keeps it healthy and alive is when you reach in and pull some out and you make something new over here with it, right? So it's the removing from it to create something new and then continuing to add to it. So you have to add the right amount of flour and water to keep it healthy and alive, keep it growing, and then you have to extract from it also to keep it healthy and alive. And the same, I think, is true for our own creative processes, for our creative minds and our souls and our practice. And so what happens to sourdough starter if it's not taken care of, if it's not loved with the right amounts of flour and water, And if it's not loved, by taking a little bit out every now and then to give it room to breathe so it can grow some more. What happens? Do you know? A lot of things, a lot of terrible things. It can mold and rot, it can die, and it can explode. And so think about that. Think about what you're holding inside you. Think about your impulse to write. And if you're holding it down, what are you doing to yourself? All right, so if you're not yet on board with this, this passion of mine to like heal the world through stories, think about yourself. What are you doing to yourself when you don't follow your impulse to write? You're hurting yourself. You are. And I don't think there's any debate about it. And I think it's a lot more than just, oh, I'm not doing that thing I want to do. I think it's affecting you on many, many levels. So please, please, write. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if you share it. Well, I do ultimately care if you share it. But for now, just write. Just get your words on the page. Get it outside yourself. Keep it moving. Because if you don't, you will hurt yourself. And the good news is, the more you use it, the more you honor it and put it outside yourself, the more will come. When you keep it all inside, there's no room for anything more to happen. All right? So the ideas will never stop. Every time you think about putting writing off, think about that rotting, molding sourdough starter. Okay? All right. Sending you mad writing mojo. Happy writing.